this is correct, Trong. You don't have to worry about 500 and 100, but you do have to update these numbers. So again, the length of this bar in paper space is 40 meters. But what does that represent in paper space? Okay, it's not 40 meters. And just like before, is it going to be twice as big, or is it going to be half the size? And you'll leave that up to you. You have to figure that out. Okay, so you have to update these numbers. Right now, the length of this line is 40. The length of this line represents either half of that, 20, up to here, or twice that, 80. And I'll give you a hint. It's going to be the opposite of what you did for the topo. If you got that right, then you should change this to that. In this particular drawing, in this particular drawing, so you want to leave horizontal and vertical scale, but this is for the horizontal scale, so you want to figure that out. Here you can, again, this is going to be drawing number 2. The digital file name is the 543 base. You can put your name in both spots here. It depends on the scale, right? Remember, we plot it 1 to 1. And then if the zoom factor is a half, or if the zoom factor is twice as big, right? A half is 1 to 500. 1 to 2,000. 2 times is 1 to 500. So it depends on the scale. Okay? We're only going to be working with those 2 scales, though. It's either going to be 2,000 for the topo or 500 for the plan profile and grading plan and earthworks. So we're only going to use 2 scales, either 500 or 2,000. Okay, so sometimes it's double, sometimes it's half. You want me to record this? Okay, I'm not really teaching anything new, but I'll record if that's what you want. Start recording. Okay. So in this case here now on this drawing, you can put your name here and here. You are going to be designing something, not yet, but you can get it ready. We are going to design the plan of the profile of the road. We're going to talk about that in the next assignment. And you're actually laying stuff out in the plan view, right? The road, pavement, the back of curbs, sidewalk, sanitary storm water main, right? So you are starting to design some stuff now. So make sure you put your name in both spots here. The date is going to be Friday's date, year, month, day, slashes. The drawing name, this is the plan and profile of street X, whatever street you have. And that's basically it, okay? So how to create the 2 viewports and line them up and get the scale, that's all in the PDF document, okay? And it should be reviewed from your other course when you did CRX, I would hope. So I'm not going to demonstrate that. I'll leave that up to you to figure out. Okay, but there are step-by-step instructions in the PDF number 8, I believe. If you go to PDF number 8, plan profile. So this document explains exactly how to do that, right? So you have your plan, your profile. How do you do this in model space so that you end up with a plan profile view that looks like that? Okay, so just follow these steps. Questions? Is the length of the viewport customized by us? The length, yeah, you could always squeeze it down. It doesn't have to be the entire page area. You could tighten it, make it tighter, especially the plan view. The only thing that you have to do, like in the profile, you want to see the entire profile, including the horizontal and the vertical scale bars. In the plan view, you have to see the entire subdivision. Okay? But you can cut it down. So if, let me go to here. If you go to, there's this whole site. We're only going to be looking at the one site, right? So make sure that the boundary and the entire road at the front is visible, right? So make sure you don't cut off the road. You want to see all the way across the street to the opposite right-of-way line, and you want to see the entire boundary of the site. Everything else outside of this area you can cut out. Okay? So you want to see the entire site, and you want to see the edge of the existing road all the way across to the other side. So make sure you don't cut off your view in the middle of the road. Make sure you include this side, okay? And you want to see this entire view. As far as what you see in the plan view, you should see everything except stuff related to grading. Okay, so you shouldn't see any points visible from the topo. Okay, so just make sure you see everything except the vertical stuff. Okay. Now, when it comes to the trees, if anybody wants to, I'm not going to be too picky, but we can change this. When it comes to the trees, what was the? Do you remember the tree should have a label that shows what? What does your tree label show? Number of the 3. There's the number, the elevation, and the description. What does the tree label look like? Which? While they're riding on Yeah, it's the description. So you want to be able to see. So this is the only point layer. This is the only point layer that should be visible. And when you turn off all the P layers, so if you go to your layer control and you find all your P layers, right? So P and P, these are all the P layers. I don't want to see any of the points except the trees. You want to see the trees. It's a surface feature, right? You would want to see the trees, and there won't be an elevation. You'll just see the description tree or D dash tree, whatever it is. T dash tree. So that's your plan view, plus everything you created. There's the water main line from the topo that is connected to the water main, so there need to be, yes, all of the servicing stuff. So the T dash layers, all of the T dash layers should be on and thawed. And then you see all the servicing information with the correct line type and so on. Again, I'm just showing you what you need to see. What it looks like depends on what's in the file. So if we go back to the assignment 2 file, you'll see the layers that you want to show. And those layers, colors, and line types, I'm asking you to change the color, but don't change the line type, right? So when you go to these layers here, right, you can see what color and line type you need. You also want to see the pipes. So I need, for my street, if I try to make the orientation L-shape, my station labels get flipped. Can I reverse it to make my station number visible? It should be fine. Don't worry about the label. You're talking about these orange labels? Tron, you're talking about the orange labels? Yeah, whatever orientation they take, just leave it. Okay, don't worry about it. If they look upside down, that's fine. So for the layers that need to be, so for that, I'm trying to think. Okay, so for layers that need to be are based on page 1. Yeah, so we need all these layers. Some of these layers might or might not be there. If they're not there, you have to create them, right? And then everything you get, whatever I ask you to create, to change it, right? There's some layers not mentioned here. Just leave them, right? So the pipes for the sanitary, the storm, and the water main, they're not mentioned here. So whatever they look like when you X-reference them, just leave them. So if there's color, if there's line type, leave them. These are the changes I want you to make. They don't change anything else. Okay? So when you X-reference it in, there's already some colors and line types. I'm only asking you to change some. If I don't ask you to change anything, leave it alone. The T dash layers under existing are those for 543. Victoria, I'm not sure what you mean. Hang on, Victoria. The T layers under existing are those. I'm not sure what you mean, Victoria. You want to ask a question? You can turn your microphone on. Might be faster to ask. I'll go through the tree part again, Shellen. Victoria, do you want to unmute yourself? Okay, let me answer the other questions. The trees is the only P layer that should be on, okay? Because that's the only way you're going to see the trees. But when it comes to maintenance holes and hydrants, that's all part of the DXF file that you got, so we don't need to see the points. I create the centerline alignment and the profile view. They were both, but yeah, you can leave those on layer 0. Because the component parts are not on layer 0. Yeah, so you don't have to change anything with that. You can if you want to, like even mine is on layer 0. But because we're in the file, we know we'll be able to see it. Can you demonstrate the UCS, sir? Okay, I'll do a quick demo for UCS. This is the UCS is in that PDF file. Okay, it should be reviewed though. Victoria, you got your microphone ready? Hello, Victoria?
Yes, hi, sir.
Hi. Do you want to ask that question again? I wasn't sure. The T layers under existing, are those the 543 ones? I'm not sure what you mean.
So in the existing layers, you have it as like T-CL, the sanitary layer poles. Is that referring
They're from
to
the topo.
Oh, okay. That's what I was
So
saying.
if you notice in my view, see some of the layers are gray and some are bright, they're white.
Yeah, that's how mine look right now.
Yeah, so the gray ones are from the X reference file, and you'll notice the layer names have the topo file name in front. Right?
Okay,
543 topo, 543 topo, yeah. So those are the ones I want you to freeze.
Okay.
The topo layers.
Thank you.
You don't have any T layers in the current file. They're from the X reference. Yeah, good question. Okay, so somebody wants to see the plane profile. Okay, I'll do a quick demo. Okay, again, this is in the instructions. So if you go to layout, I might not be following the PDF exactly because I can just do this on the fly, but I will show you. What you have to do is cut two views. Ignore anything that says reconciled layer. Just ignore it. Okay, it's a warning that not going to affect your drawings. Okay, so I'm going to cut two views. I'm going to cut a hole here and I cut a hole here. By default, it's going to zoom extents. Okay, so let me deal with the profile first. Right, if you double click inside and you zoom in on the profile, get it close, almost full screen, and then click out, touch the frame, and change the scale. It should be 500. Okay, which is, if you list it, 2 times paper space. Okay, if you regen, it'll adjust the text to the right height. So regen or regen all, whichever one you use. Okay, and then if it's not centered or where you want it to be, you have 2 options. You can move the viewport in paper space. Right, so I'm actually moving the frame while I'm in paper space. Or if you don't want to move the frame, you can double click inside and don't zoom in or out, but if you use the pan command, P for pan, you can move it, but don't scale, don't zoom in and out, otherwise you'll screw up the scale. Okay, and once that's done, you're ready to go. Now, some people experience this problem. You see here my labels, they don't line up. The middle of the road should be station 0. See, it's over here instead of over here. Okay, try a regen all. Some people have this problem, regen all. And if that doesn't fix it, then there's a command called audit. This is kind of a digital way of kicking the computer in the butt, excuse my language, and say yes to fix any errors. And then what it should do, it'll scan through and find and fix errors. I don't know what the errors are, but as long as the total number found is the same as the total number fixed, then you're in good shape. Okay, so now try regen again. Regen all. And if that doesn't fix it, try going to model space, right, where it looks correct, and then go back to paper space, see if that doesn't fix it. Okay. Now, if that doesn't work, then you've got an issue in the topo file. Okay, I'll get to your question in a minute. Let me finish this demo. Okay, if you're still having that problem, close the drawing, and you might have an error in your topo. Okay, so I'm going to try and fix it. So this is the error I'm referring to. 0 should line up with this gray line right here. Right? If you go to model space, you'll see that's true. Here's station 0, and it should line up with the middle of the road. If it doesn't, in your paper space, and a couple of people, oh, there it is. See, now it's fixed. All I did was go back and forth. See that? Now 0 lines up where it's supposed to be. So if that's a graphic issue, just go back to paper space and come back to model space, or try auditing. Okay. So that's the profile view. Okay. In the plan view, you have to do 2 things. First, you have to rotate the view. Okay. Don't rotate the AutoCAD rotate command. Don't do that. What you want to do is go through the view, click inside the paper, zoom in, and find the street name. The street name wants to be horizontal to the view. That's the way I set up the file. So we type in UCS, and then we say E for entity, and then I click on the street, okay, on the text. And you'll see now my axes are, X is lined up with how we read the street G. That's one way of doing it. The PDF actually asks you to do something else. Okay? What it asks you to do is find the street line that's parallel to the street line and type UCS, click on an end point, so there's origin, then click the other end of the line, that's the direction of positive X, and then positive Y wants to be up this way, not down below. Right? And again, this coordinate system is parallel to the street name. Okay? When you're done, the name of the street should be horizontal to the view, reading left to right. So now that you've created this temporary coordinate system, you type in plan and hit enter twice, and it'll rotate the space. Okay, so if you zoom in on it now, you'll see that the street name is horizontal to the view. Okay? And the scale is all screwed up. So then what you do, again, click out, look at your whole frame, click in, zoom in, get it close, centered, click out, touch the frame and change this to 1 to 500 as well. So that's the correct size now. Okay. Now, if you don't want to screw up the scale, make sure for both frames you turn the lock on. Right. So now, if you go inside the frame, if you zoom, it's going to zoom paper space, not model space. So it preserves the scale. Okay. The height of the text again is going to adjust, regen all, and then it adjusts to the proper size for the scale. Okay. Now, when we look at this view, and let me bring it off here, you want to make sure, in my example, my entire subdivision is visible, right? So don't cut off anything, right? I want to see every lot. So the entire, if I go into here, the entire subdivision frame, like the limit of the site, should be visible. And you also want to see the intersection all the way across to the opposite side. So the entire alignment is visible, okay? Now, you can make it as tight as you like, right? It's up to you. Just make sure those things are visible. Right, so something like that. So now I can